I was asked was, what are the problems when you have multicultural people working together at the same time? In my experience, in my limited experience in working in hiring people in Pakistan of different ethnicity, and then I will also tell about working with international people, was the value system. Now everybody thinks they have a great value system and they're the best in the world. And what happens when you do that is that when you're meeting for the first time, you're resistant. So I remember when we hired one time a Hindu person in our office in Karachi. Some of the employees would not, ask them to separate their utensils, so they had different plate, different glass to use, which was very interesting for me to see that they could not even accept them as a human being rather than as a religious person. So and then when they became friends, they actually knew each other, that they were actually more hygienically clean than these other people. They started sharing the same utensils, and it did not really matter anymore. I also suggested strongly that we should invite each other to our families, because the families are very important in our parts of the world. So when we have families who don't understand different cultures, we have to bridge that by inviting them over for dinner, invite the other religion person or other ethnic person to your house, offer them dinner, meal. So that it's a long conversation. You require a long conversation in order to understand, and even sometimes multiple conversation. It's not necessarily one conversation will not dissolve any problems. So you can say if you don't resolve it, you should invite every 3 months or a year. So to get to know more people of different parts of the world and different kinds of ethnicity within your own community, so that you're no longer scared of them. Otherwise you'll be scared of them, and anything we're scared of, we try to resist. So to understand is more important than to be scared, and to be less scared is only by interaction, by communication, by better gestures of friendship, like as I said, having them over for dinner or going to their house for dinner. That would be the best thing possible to do. I see in America when I am traveling, there are lots of silos. So people from Pakistan come and live in Pakistani area, Bangladeshi people live in Bangladeshi area, Pakistani people hire Pakistani people. So that is not a very good thing to do, I think, because that stops creativity and that stops growth, because every race or every ethnic community has something to offer, and which is very different than our own communities. So what we should do is get to know the person, get to know the community. It takes time, of course, but it has great benefits. It will be giving you big fruits if you do that. And I found that a lot of people would just not do that. It's very difficult for them. It's very challenging for them to themselves. And then if they're ready, the community around them look at them in a weird way, that you're talking to this person, you're talking to the person from this church. That's so wrong. They're so wrong, and we don't talk to each other. So communication is very important. Languages are a barrier. We need to understand. We need to get good at a language so that we can communicate what we're feeling really with the right vocabulary to the other people. We should be able to trust our hearts. We should be able to tell other people what we really think, and then let them, without getting angry, get back to that question. And if two people are very, very angry, you can't really talk, because you have all this conversation from background. Only yesterday we were sitting in a McDonald's, and we wanted to help an elderly community person. And my colleague mentioned that I am from Pakistan. The moment he heard that I am from Pakistan, he would just not want to talk to me, because all of a sudden he brought in his head everything which he knows about Pakistan in front of his eyes, and brain will just bring everything in front of you, and then you cannot even talk, because you don't see me anymore. You see the person. He saw a person of a Pakistani origin. He was no longer interested in talking to me. So similar things, we do exactly the same thing. If we see somebody of a different ethnicity, we label them, and then we bring all the memories which we have of that culture, and we try to talk to that culture, not that person. So instead of asking questions, we tell them things. That person exactly did the same thing yesterday. He was not ready to listen anything we were saying. He would just answer exactly the same thing as if I did not know English, because I wasn't talking, so he thought I have no idea what I'm talking about. I don't know English, so he wouldn't just answer. So that's the challenge of this new world which we are living in, and all this has happened because of these immense amount of communications. All these silos are breaking, and because of these silos are breaking, it's a lot of confusion which is happening now, and we need to help by doing more communication.